E 107.3 FM Charlotte.
The views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates. You can have your own party on TV. Party with R.J. Watkins and the TV 33 family when you hold your own Facebook watch. All your friends with our friends, and we can have a watch party together. Watch your favorite TV shows when you want, how you want, with your favorite. Log on to Facebook from your computer or tablet and go to the page at facebook.com/TV33WHPR, the one with the blue WHPR logo on the left. Like us. Red tag that says live next to it. Then click the there and select Start a Watch Party. Invite whoever you want. Your party will be recorded and archived for playback anytime you want. 74 hours a day. At the end of the month, the viewer that has the most their watch party will be invited on the TV show live. Come on, let's have a party.
Pick up your copy of The Son of Man Speaks. With The Son of Man Speaks magazine, you'll receive wholesome recipes, financial advice, and most importantly, a true understanding of the Word of God. Get your from these select locations. Sister 18070 Mount Elliott, the Shell gas station, 13110 West 7 Mile Road. To get a subscription, 9788. That's 601 9788. The Son of Man Speaks magazine, dedicated to becoming free indeed.
SOS Graphic Design provides graphic design services from established companies to startups, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication with print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166. or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Well, we're moving on now to the side.
0 Mount Elliott Street. Our new salon is spacious with adequate and all brand new state-of-the-art salon equipment. Come meet your local hair braiders and natural hair care specialists and check out our many hair services such as hair treatments, sock braids, cornrows, tree braids, Havana twists, children's braids, natural twists, lock extensions, kinky twists, goddess locks, updos, full weaves, and more. Please feel free to visit us on the web at www.sistersbraid2.com or call 313-826-0498. Here at Sisters Braid 2, we offer exceptional care for exceptional hair. We look forward to seeing you.
Support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. Unity and Rebuilding. And hear how we need to work together and rebuild the city. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000. Again, 313-868-0000 and Rebuilding Fund.
Have you ever searched through a shelf full of greeting cards and still couldn't find the one that echoes how you felt? Designed by Deej. We offer our cards are one-of-a-kind, keepsake items that your recipient will want to place on their mantle with all of their other beautiful and treasured items. Cards. With Designs by Deej, no holiday will go. Our unique greeting cards are sure to celebrate all holidays. We also have cards for special occasions. We are unique and three-dimensional, handmade occasion. Specializing. We also take custom orders. Every card is crafted with care and made with love. Deej today at 601-451-9. Or visit our website, www.designsbydeej.com.
WGPR C2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
FM 88.1 WHPR. Highland Park. WVIE 107.3 FM Somalia, Virgin Islands.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS. It's
reading the Holy Scripture and not really understanding what you read. And if
The
you're
recording
really
has started.
sure, have you ever tested that what you feel you know with someone that has a different than your own? Then let's talk with one another. Then let's reason with one another on a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Sunday at 12 noon.
Conference
on
recording
WHPR
started.
TV,
Conference
Detroit,
recording
88.1
started.
FM, WHPR, Comcast Cable. Why don't you call and discuss the Holy Bible and their true meaning? You can call them live on the air at area code 313-4336, 313-868, 42 or 313-868-0351. That's 313-868-4336, 313-42 or 313-868. And now, let's go live with a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you once again who are hungry, thirsty for Allah's righteousness. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. Salam alaikum. Before I get into our subject matter, I want to give those who have disagreements with me, with us, I should say, in what we are teaching, I want to give you the same courtesy that I want to be afforded if I disagree with something that you are getting out in the public saying. And that you speak something in public, then it's the public's business what you said. And if you didn't want to hear arguments or questions, you should not have said what you said publicly, especially if you are in a position of authority or leadership. I want you to know this also. First, did we have someone?
Not right now.
Brother Jamar?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. You know, I don't run from people who disagree with me. I look for people who disagree with me, because every person that disagrees with me and are honest enough about their disagreement offers me a chance to convert them to Islam. You cannot convert a person or change. What to convert means to change. You cannot truly change a person's mind or change a person's way of belief by threatening them. You may change what they're telling you. If you frighten them enough, they may change and say, okay. Like Prophet Muhammad, when he was attacked and was being persecuted, and Allah got fed up with it and told Prophet Muhammad, he said, persecution is worse than slaughter. Retaliation is prescribed for you in the matter of the slain. They want to slay your people. Well, go get them, and I'll go with you. And so Muhammad, thank you, baby. Here you go. So Prophet Muhammad, he took up the sword, and Abu Bakr and Omar and some of Salahuddin, they picked up the sword, man. And brother, they had an army, and they went forth fighting, and Muhammad led them. And I remember when they had gotten so into the war that I don't know which one of them, the generals it was. It was probably Salahuddin, but he rode his horse up to the surf of the sea, and the horse reared up, and he was shaking his sword over his head. He said, if it was not for this sea, I would keep on riding, putting to death every infidel that I found. And so they had really got into it, and they got back to Mecca and was ready to do it there. And the prophet, he saw that, and this ain't the way. As the messenger said, that Prophet Muhammad, he grieved himself to death at age 66. That he, some of the scientists, they kind of laughed at him trying to convert the devils before the time. And he realized that it wasn't time to actually destroy the devils. And they had another 1,400 and something years to live on that level. Just like a caterpillar, you can try to get him to wrap up all you want before nature intended. It ain't gonna happen. To all things is a what? A time and a season. And so how did he get them to stop killing them? He said, look, you tell them that if they will say there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, their life will be spared. So all of them start saying that. They didn't believe it, but they said it. Do you understand? That's why they I think they call that the Shahada. If I'm not correct, feel free to correct me. I don't speak Arabic, but I know people will say, "Have you taken the Shahada?" And I assume they're talking about La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. And I've heard people say that. So, I'm saying what I heard you say. I don't know what it means other than what you told me. That there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And so if they said that, their life was spared. So you can imagine. I mean, if you had been there and they was threatening to take your life and told you to say that or die, what would you have said it? So the scripture says, all that a man have will he give for his life. But just because they said it don't mean they meant it. But Prophet Muhammad had to, Allah gave him a way to stop the generals who wanted to kill all of them. He gave Muhammad the solution. You know, because telling them to just stop, they would have wondered what to stop for what? They were still trying to kill it. So the prophet told them, well, if anyone who will say there's no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger, spare his life. And so that went all the way down through the, you know, they people say, well, if you say Allah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, then you a Muslim. Now you're not no Muslim. You're only a Muslim. Whoever submits himself wholly to do the will of Allah is Muslim. It make no difference how many prophets' names you call out to what you believe in them. If you won't do Allah's will, you're not a Muslim. So now when you hear me misguide somebody, unmute your phone and tell me. If I'm giving wrong guidance, what's wrong with you? I know what's wrong with you. You're envious and jealous because Allah has raised up from a people that you considered to be nothing. He has raised up the authority in one of those people. Nobody respects the black man, especially the so-called American Negro. And now you have discovered that one of those so-called American Negroes that you consider to be nothing is the Lord himself. You just can't handle that, huh? Let me tell you something else. I want all you, now white people, y'all better listen. I'm warning you now, you better listen. This go for all of you. I'm the leader and teacher of the new nation of Islam. As the Holy Scripture refers to me in this passage, in the 9th chapter of Isaiah, it says, "For unto us, the messengers of God, a child is born." You remember David said, yeah, listen good, now keep up now. David said in the 100 Psalms, he said, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness, come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. We are his people. We, the messengers of God, are his people. And the sheep who brought the pasture that he was told to eat up." And if they were the sheep, then the sheep gave birth to a lamb. That's me. For unto us, the sheep, a child is born. And unto us a son, a S-U-N, is given. And S-O-N. And the government of the New Jerusalem shall be upon his shoulder. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself, and his name is called the Word of God. And therefore his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor. Do you know of any counselor that's greater than the Word of God? It said his name shall be called that. And the Word is God. His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the everlasting Father. The truth is omnipotent. Everlasting a Father. Huh? Always able to bring something new into existence. Always. Don't never shoot blanks. So it says, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. The first one born of Islam. Peace. And of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end. Now, I'm still talking to white people. It don't make no difference which one you are. Remember, I talked about which before. Because Donald Trump has instituted the witch hunt. Which what? Which of you are good and which of you are below that? Now Donald Trump, thanks to his getting involved in this stuff, he was the catalyst to manifest which were good and which were below that, and which are below that, because they still doing it. Do you understand? Can't change now. He that's just, let him be unjust still. He that's filthy, let him be filthy still. That's why they can't change. The die is cast. I told you. Remember I told you I was going to fix you? And I'm about to do it too. Don't you worry. And you got it coming. And it ain't a damn thing you can do to stop it. So you listen, because you got to know that justice is being done. Vengeance is mine, saith the who?
The Lord.
I will repay. Now, it says, generation of vipers. How can you, being so evil, speak good things? You run around here talking about the Voter Rights Act and all of that kind of thing. The 13th Amendment already covered all that stuff. You ain't got no right to stop no citizen of the United States from voting. That's that. So all this other hoorah you doing, the Constitution already in the 13th Amendment told you about voting. Wasn't it the 13th Amendment? Was it the 13th or the 15th? Find it. Because it was on the TV the other night. They read it. No citizen shall be hindered. Nobody got a right to get in the way of people trying to vote. So you up there that call yourself Supreme Court justices, you a bunch of hypocrites, and hypocrites are liars. You sit up there and you, instead of you telling them, hey, these things that you're doing, you can't do that. The 13th or the 15th Amendment, the Constitution will not allow you to make any kind of laws or rules that hinders people from being able to vote.
That was the 15th.
The 15th Amendment. Now, so I got to give you this. I got to tell you this because it wouldn't be just to not. It's just like when they take you into court. You remember what that judge did with your boy, Derek Chauvin? He read the things that the counts that he was convicted of, and then he explained why I'm gonna give you more than what is talked about here, because you went beyond. You added insult to injury. You did things that is unforgivable. And the judge explained it to him and then did it to him. Do you understand? Okay. Well, I'm explaining it to you now. So the scripture says, how can you, being evil, where's that at? Let me make sure that I don't want to. It says, old generation of vipers. Find it for me.
Matthew chapter 12, verse 34.
I was almost there anyway. 12 and 44. 34. Okay. Matthew 12 and 34. It says, "O generation of vipers, how can you," you know, a viper is a poisonous snake. It says, "O generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things?" I mean, you sit up and you say all these good things. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and you can play with it all you want. But I know where you got that from. God made all men from one blood. I didn't hear you. All right? So that includes black, brown, yellow, white, and all them other colors or whatever you come up with. You already said it. That God, it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident. You know what you call self-evident truths? You call them facts. Facts. You don't defend facts. Facts defend themselves and whoever is wise enough to lay hold to them. I didn't hear you.
That's right.
You still think I'm your nigga, huh? Okay. All right. Go find another Negro that you made to come up and speak like me. What did Django say? I may be that 1 in 10,000, man. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. That stuff stick in my head, man. People be saying things. I'm not like you. I mean, I hear something that might help me later on in teaching. It just stay there. Now, it says, this is your words now. It says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and we hold these truths to be self-evident and are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. Rights that you cannot alienate them from. The brain that's in them will never allow them to accept being alienated from the right to life. It says liberty, freedom, and the right to pursue happiness. That didn't come out of my forefather's mouth. That came out of your forefather's mouth. And you know when your forefathers did that? They was in a lily white country under lily white people, and that lily white country and them lily white people, many of them were below good. One of them was king. His name was King George. And he was, everything was white. And your forefathers who gave you this country, who left you the Constitution, in their Declaration of Independence from that lily white king and his lily white country, they told him that we declaring our independence of you. Well, wait a minute. Whatever happened to white supremacy? And y'all can't get along with your own white self? You still can't get along with your own white selves. All these serial killers and all this stuff you done produced. Who bringing all them drugs into your lily white community? I'm going to tell you, black brother, I'm going to stop talking to white folks for a minute here. You, black brother and sister, I'm getting fed up with watching you disgrace yourself, running up in white people's face, giving them the idea that they God over you by keep on begging them to accept you and let you in and let you do this and let you do that. The hell with begging somebody to let me do. You ain't letting me do nothing. Allah done broke that chain. Now you come on and join with me. Because they finna get what they got coming. Now you think this is some kind of game that's being played. No, it ain't no game. You sit back and you watch us being mistreated and you don't do a thing about it. Well, I'm going to show you why I brought up that I'm the leader and teacher of the new nation of Islam. Now, let's get back to this. Now, in that Declaration of Independence, that was a Declaration of Independence and war at the same time. And when they declared that, they was declaring it to, they was trying to appeal to some other white people, France especially, that, they would like them to help them to break free of the tyranny of the head and supporters in a lily white country committing tyranny against white people. Do I got your history wrong? Did I miss something? Now, not only that, I think it was Patrick Henry that signed the death sentence on you. Because Patrick Henry, when they was debating on whether they was going to try to throw off that yoke and kill as many of them as they had to kill, King George and whoever else, because they were King George and them was trying to alienate them from their God-given rights. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And was taxing them as equal citizens while not granting them equality. They stripped them of equality, but taxed them as though they had an equal share in whatever happened in the country. Kind of like what you doing to black people now. And you pronounced a death sentence on King George for doing that to you. So let me read a little more here. Now you just pay attention now. Am I saying something that's wrong or evil? Or am I just reminding you of what came out of your mouth? O generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. A good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things. And an evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. You know, you claim to be good. And like the Jinn said in the 72nd chapter of the Holy Quran, he said, and some of us are good. And some of us are below that. But I notice you keep on holding hands with those who you know are below that. And then you said blood thicker than water. Huh? So that's the game you've been playing on us. I'm sick of it. And I refuse to play it with you anymore. You got a decision you got to make. You're going to have to either let go of their hand or you're going to suffer the same thing that they're going to suffer for you putting up with it when you could have put a stop to it. You could have put a stop to it and you didn't. It says, but I say unto you that every idle, meaning every false word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. Do you happen to have the 15th Amendment handy? If so, would you please read it for me?
Yes, sir. It says, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged.
Oh, stop right there. So all these little, like you getting ready to go do something, and before you can do it, they put something that you got to pass this or you got to cross that they are abridging your rights. Do you understand? Now, read that again and read it slow.
The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous of servitude.
All right. So all these new laws ain't worth the paper that they're written on. But the Constitution is just a piece of paper. If the government that says that Constitution represents does not enforce it. Now, let me show you something. See, I couldn't hold you accountable if I and told you that I'm the leader and teacher of the new nation of Islam. Now, the new nation of Islam has only one government, and that's me, my head. As is written, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. Now, so anything that you see and you know I see, now understand something. What citizens do in private, what people slip around and the government don't see them, I'm not trying to hold the American government responsible for the slipping around of these groups that got their little back alley room and stuff and talking about all that old yang and talking all that old crazy talk. They got that freedom. But when you see the injustices that's being done right out in the open by people that's in state government, that the federal government and the federal constitution forbids them to do, and you do nothing. Whatever they do to us, they did it with your permission because you saw it and you did nothing. It's just like me. If I see people that's supposed to be my followers out here dealing drugs or out here trying to rob people or messing over people, and I see it and don't condemn it and stop it, then I'm to blame just as much as they are. That's even in your law. It's just like when they put Michael Cohen in jail. And they acknowledged that Donald Trump was a defendant too. But they didn't arrest him. Because he's the president. He stopped being the president when he broke the law. He violated his oath of office. You may not hold yourself responsible, but I'm holding you responsible. There shall be pestilences. Oh, yeah. You're going to get what you got coming. So, all right, go on, keep on doing your evil to me and my people. Keep on. All right. If you got something you want to say to me, you want to cuss me out, go on, call on up here and cuss me out so I can throw your ass in hell. Surely the most hateful of sounds to Allah is the braying of asses. Ain't nobody saying that? Let me show you something here. This is in Isaiah, around the 60th. Around the 60th chapter. This is happening right now. It says to me and to those who are my followers, who accept me, it says, arise. You know what? They had a song when I was youngster. They talking about Kumbaya. That's not what that song was saying. It was saying, Kumbaya, Lord. You know, Yah means Lord. That's like Jah, Yah. There ain't no J in the Hebrew language, so that's why you got some of these people that's called, instead of Jehovah, they would say Yahweh, YHWH. And so when it says Kumbaya, Lord, Kumbaya, Kumai means arise. Lord, Lord, Lord of Lords. Arise, Lord of Lords. And it says, arise and shine. If there is light in you, let your light so shine that men may see what?
Your good works.
Many good works have I shown you from my Father. But which of those works do you hate me? For the work we stone you not, but because you blaspheme. Being a man maketh yourself God. I didn't make myself God. God made me God. He said, see, I have made thee a God to Pharaoh. Everything you say against me has already been answered. So, now remember now, all of you that's sitting back watching, white people, you sitting back watching this low down stuff, and you come to us and asking us on the news, well, what do you think about that? What are you going to do about it? Well, I ain't going to do nothing about it. This ain't my government. It's yours. You taxing me as an equal citizen and denying me what you went to war over somebody denying you. You look, even in the book where Job was talking and his wife said, why don't you just cuss God and die? And Job said, you sound like one of the foolish women. The Lord giveth, and the Lord did what?
Taketh away.
Okay. Who gave us them voting rights?
White people did.
And who took them away?
White people.
So whose fault is it if we don't have any?
White people.
Thank you. All right. Ain't my fault. You still taxing us. I mean, if you want to treat us like foreign entities or whatnot, you shouldn't charge us any taxes on anything. Since you don't want us participating in your government, the land that we buy, once we pay for it, it should be ours.
That's right, sir.
Pay taxes to you for what? Yeah. Okay. Just remember, you already declared that deserves the death penalty. And you declared it. He even taught it to me in elementary school. Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death. Meaning I will die trying to take your life if you will not let me live free. And if I lose mine in the process, well, then that's better than dying under a tyrant. So you already said what you think should happen to tyrants. You've become a tyrant. a whole nation of tyrants. Okay? And Allah said it in so many ways. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay. As thou hast done, so shall it be done unto you. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Study telling you over and over and over. How many ways could it be said that you're going to get it back? Okay. For I say to you, but I say unto you, that's the 36th verse of the 12th chapter of Matthew, every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account of it. They shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. What is the day of judgment? The Sabbath day, the day of the Son of Man. You in it now. Do you think that I could be standing up here, a black man, talking to white people like I'm talking, if I wasn't the Son of Man? I bet you won't do it. I'm standing up talking to the whole world on the internet. From the cradle. In old age. When I was young, they didn't even have color pictures they could take of you. And when the TV first came out, they had this blue plastic that you could put over the TV and make the people look a little different. We all had that over the TV. So I mean, I remember all that stuff. I even remember ice boxes where you literally bought a cake of ice. The man came by with a wagon pulled by a horse, and he this is in California, and he'd be get his that thing that he grabbed the ice with. It would look like a great big caliper, and he'd grab it, and you buy a couple of cakes of ice, and we all had ice picks. Every household had an ice pick, and you would chop the ice up fine and put it in the box in the bottom of the box, as a little drawer type of thing, and that ice would keep the whole thing, keep your food cold and keep it from spoiling on you, and we call them ice boxes. And you notice. We even when refrigerators came out, we were still calling them ice boxes. Go in the ice box and give me such and so and such and so and so. But that's because that's what we used to have, ice boxes. And so, so I want you to know that if you correct yourself, I'm satisfied. I'm not itching to see you destroyed. Why do you think I'm standing up here talking to you? I'm trying to get you to save yourself. You better let go of these redneck, these low-down people that's out here doing wrong. You better stand up against them. It's not up to me to stand up for my rights in your country. I tell you what, when a person come to your house, one of your guests, you remember when the angels visited Lot?
Yes, sir.
When them people start disrespecting those men, Did the angels have to see about it?
No, sir.
Or did Lot go out there and say, hey, man, these are my guests. Don't do that. White people, I expect you to go and deal with Arizona, Georgia, and all these other places where white people in government are messing over my people. I expect you to straighten it out. You don't go to the black man like he got the power to do something. We ain't got no power to do nothing in your government. But what you give us. And if you gave it, you could take it, and you taking it. Then why are you still taxing us and taking our money? Making us pay you taxes while you practice tyranny against us. How do you justify that? He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He that's filthy, all your religions ain't nothing but a pile of filthy rags. He that's filthy, let him be filthy still. It's all written. Everything is written. This is the judgment. You about to get paid everything. Let every man, it says we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that every man may receive the things done in his body according to that which he hath done, whether it be good or evil. There shall be pestilences. That's them little fellas that get inside your body and start wreaking havoc on you. Remember, I gave you a chance. If I was you, I would take it. All right. And I say to you who look like me, just like you got this Clarence Thomas up there, he voted with him. What was that fella in Django, Steven? Remember him? Okay, Clarence. Not that his vote would have changed anything, but at least it would have shown that he cared something about black people, especially since his skin is black. I mean, I wouldn't care if your daddy was white. White folks used to say that if you had any black in you, you're the nigger. You's a nigger. Ain't that what they used to say?
Yes, sir.
So you wanna side with people who do unjust things to your people? That opinion, that what was that fella name that wrote that opinion? Justice, what was his name? You know, it would seem to me, since you can't get fired, you can't, once you become appointed to the Supreme Court, you don't have nothing to fear. Then why you don't come out and take the heat for what you write? Explain yourself to the people. I'd like to talk to you, mister. You permit things to be done to my people? that you would not allow to be done to yours? And you call yourself a Supreme Court justice?
That was Justice Alito, sir.
So, Alito?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, another Italian. I know where the Pope is. He in Italy. Okay. Yeah, that's how you want to do it? Okay, right on. We go way back, don't we? Where was Caesar at? Wasn't he in Rome? Oh, we got some history on us, don't we? Okay. You do things to other people that when it was done to you, you condemned it in no uncertain terms. Let me show you here. Let's go to the book of Romans. Let's see here. We got the book on you. They got a whole chapter entitled Romans. Well, let's see here. It says, I'm going to start in the first chapter. It says in the 26th verse, it says, for this cause God gave them up unto vile affections. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature, as it was in the days of Lot. Huh?
Yes, sir.
And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another. You got that on TV. See them on there, black, white, all different guys. Men on there kissing each other like it's another woman, like it's a woman that he kissing. Huh? It says they burned in their lust one men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, agreeable with them. They did not like to retain God in their knowledge, as they did not like to retain the truth that taught them how to have dominion. God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being unrighteousness, being filled with all unrighteousness, not good and evil, but now it's all evil. Babylon the Great is fallen, and it's become the habitat of evil, of devils. And a whole very foul-minded person in a cage for every unclean and hateful bird. You remember looking at the Shawshank Redemption? Did you see with Morgan Freeman? The innocent man was put in there. They threatened to put him down there with the sodomites. You mess up again, I'll put you down there with them sodomites. Huh? A cage for every unclean and hateful bird. Huh? Then it said, now that's the warden telling the man he's going to throw him in there. So when they put you in jail, instead of trying to rehabilitate you, they finish messing you up. A cage for every unclean and hateful bird. hateful minds. Then it says, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy and murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God. In other words, dogs. Huh? Despiteful, proud boasters, inventors of evil. I told you, my generation is the worst when it came to that. I heard many of them saying, when I grow up, I ain't gonna do my children like this. Do your children like what? Make them obey and make them respect people and make them do the right thing. I'm gonna give my children everything. And now their children giving them hell. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I ain't gonna tell you that I didn't think that at one time, but I grew out of that stupidity. And I grew out of it at a younger age too. When I got out of high school and whatnot, I wasn't resenting my parents no more. I realized what they had done for me. At least some of it I had sense enough to appreciate. Had to live a while before I started seeing what a blessing my mother and daddy was to me. Disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers. You know, when they make a promise, they don't keep it. Their word ain't nothing. I remember my daddy, he used to get on me and get on me. He got on all of us. Said, boy, if your word ain't nothing, you ain't nothing. Covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful. In order to be merciful, you got to have the ability to empathize with people. You actually have to be able to see something happen to someone and feel it as though it was, you know, man, I know that hurt. Let me help you, brother. Let me help you, sister. You ain't got no mercy in you at all. Look at you. You love to see things that distress black people. While you scream like a scalded dog if those very things was done to you. Unmerciful. Who, knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death. Not only do they do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. That old Matt Gaetz who stood up there and called them people patriots that went in there to tear up the Capitol. Ron Johnson. Well, it says they take pleasure. They not only do it themselves, they take pleasure in them that do those things. Therefore, listen to this part real good, man. It's the second chapter, the first verse. Therefore, thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest. For wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself. For thou that judgest doest the same thing. By your own words, you shall be justified, and by your own you shall be condemned. Representation without representation is tyranny. So you gonna stand by and watch this stuff, these injustices be done to my people? And you know the sad part? They took pains to tell us you should vote. If you don't like what's going on, then go out and vote, participate. Then when we took their advice and participated, they decided that, oh, you took us serious? Okay. All right. Okay. So when your calamity comes, remember, I gave you a way to head it off. Just like I gave you a heads up on what Donald Trump was going to do what he meant by that draining the swamp and all that. Just like he called William Barr a swamp creature. What he meant by that was that William Barr had a bottom, even though the bottom was real low. He had a bottom, and so far he wouldn't go, and so he stuck with some belief in law and order and democracy, and so he was a creature of the swamp, which the swamp is Washington D.C. now. Swamp in the sense that that's what it's built on. It was built on what used to be a swamp, but now the capital is there, and so anyone who have a semblance of belief in democracy is, according to Donald, a swamp creature. Do you understand? Donald was looking for people who was good fellas, who you notice he said he hired none but the best people, the good fellas. Yeah. What did he mean by that? He was hiring people that didn't give a damn about the government. They wanted to overthrow the government. You see, America first. You see, and ain't no telling how much money he was offered by some of these dictators if he could pull it off. Huh? And I'm gonna tell you something. You know who the first ones they was gonna kill when they finally got it? Them who they bought and saw that you could change their mind and make traitors out of them. And don't nobody trust a traitor. Nobody trusts a traitor, especially the one who could convince you to turn on your own country and turn on your own government. Because if you turn on your own government now, when you don't like what this government do, you may turn on it too. So he gonna make sure he can get rid of you. Because you are a pretender. So you know he can't trust you, so he gonna get rid of you. Yeah. So but anyway, of course the fool don't know that. The traitor always thinks that you saw Dune. You remember Dune?
Yes, sir.
You remember when the one who betrayed Duke Leto, that the Baron had convinced to betray the House Atreides by,
Yes, sir.
Sabotaging the defense.
Yes, sir. Huey.
Yeah, Huey. And in the end, the the one that convinced him to betray uh, the Duke, he said, "Bring the traitor in." that's, that's what what's that? He said, "Bring the traitor in."
Baron.
Baron, the Baron said, "Bring the traitor in," and he brought Huey in there. He said, "You want to join your wife?" And Huey smiled. he said, "She lives." He said, "You want to join her?" He said, "Join her," and he killed him. He was the first one the Baron killed because he knew he was a traitor. Period. So anyway, it's just like when me. I was looking at the news. They had some ex-Marine that was going around trying to blow up stuff, and they got him. But I mean, you don't take up arms against your own government. You took an oath. If you was any kind of man and you took that oath don't leave you just because you left the service. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this: as long as we are in this country, you will always find us to be peaceful, law-abiding citizens of yours. You can't find me sitting up plotting to do nothing to these people's government. I'm a Muslim, and I'm not just a Muslim when you looking at me. I'm a Muslim when ain't nobody around but me. I got my problems. I got my faults. But lying ain't one of them. I don't give my word lightly. My word means something to me. I don't like nobody to look at me and shake their head. I know what that means because I know what it means when I look at somebody and shake my head at them. I'm thinking that is one sorry individual. Huh? And it's generally because they didn't keep their word. So, but anyway, you didn't learn nothing from the Marine Corps, did you, boy? Do you know what Semper Fidelis means? It means always faithful. That means a person you can trust. If they tell you something, you can take that to the bank. That's something that any man should respect. Now, I want to let's see here. Did any of y'all see the Space Odyssey 2001?
Yes, sir. I saw it several times.
You remember at the beginning of it, it showed that monolith in front of a caveman,
Yes, sir.
and the monolith represented Moses. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Moses was sent into the caves and hillsides of Europe to raise up the serpent that had been cursed for coming back among us, making trouble, and practicing divide and conquer. And so Moses, after the 2,000 years of savagery, Musa was sent into the caves and hillsides of Europe to bring the white man back out of the cave after he had went completely savage. And white folks listening, if they think I'm not telling the truth, come on in here and let's talk. Ask yourself. You notice your parents, they don't teach in the public school how you got out of the cave. But now they do have a history of you being marched into the cave in Masonics. You know, they walk in the burning sand with nothing but the robes on, with the loincloth on. They marched across the burning sand, the deserts of Arabia into the cave. Well, that was the curse that you was ran out from among us when we found you making trouble, and the king ordered them rounded up and marched out of us, and they took from them everything but the language. You see, that's where we get that old saying: they can take away everything, but they can't take what you know. Do you understand? So, but anyway, after 2,000 years, and he went completely savage, then Musa was sent into the caves to raise him up out of that. You know, as they tell you, they discovered fire. No, Moses showed them how to make fire and how to cook their meat and all that, but they still like raw meat. They, you know, most of you don't know where that came from, but that is your history. You was eating your meat raw, just like any other animal at that time when you was in the cave. And so now I'm not making mockery. I'm giving you a quick, what you call, I'm skimming history for you. And so the scripture teaches you, you know, now look at you now compared to what you was in the cave. You done came a long way. That is admirable. But there's also a lesson in that for you if you had taken the time to look at your own history. Because if you had went completely savage, and yet a man of God, Musa, that was his name, Musa. He came and he taught you civilized knowledge. And as the scripture referred to you as the beast that was and is not and yet is. What does that mean? You were a caveman, a savage, and yet look at you now, have a civilization, and you are not. And yet when studied closer, you saw what Derek Chauvin did to George Floyd right out in the open with his policeman uniform on and all of the trappings of a civilization. But he looked just like a lion that had just or was killing or taking the life a creature, and he just sitting there on his neck until he died. The beast that was and is not, but yet still is. You put on your robes and you act like you are civilized judges and whatnot. And look what you just did. The messenger told us back in the 60s when you was given all of these civil rights and all of this kind of stuff, the messenger said he gonna take it all back one day. And you doing just what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said you was gonna do. And he also told you that I would be here and that I was gonna judge you for what you was doing. He told you, ain't nobody coming behind him. He said, ain't nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that. Okay. Anyway, if you had really understood the scriptures, this wouldn't even be in here no more. You'd been done changed all this. But you couldn't change it because you couldn't understand it. So, in the 3rd chapter of the book of John, Jesus said, in the 14th verse, and as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, meaning brought the white man out of the caves when he was a caveman, Moses lifted him up. Even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. You know why that monolith was rectangular and not square? It's because that's the way books are. Books are rectangles. And you notice the caveman stuck a finger out there and touched the thing. That's how you read a book. You turn the pages. Moses taught him how to read. Moses taught him how to write. Moses taught him some of the trick knowledge that Yaqub taught him to enable him to hide himself in plain sight. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So that's what he's been doing, you know. And he used to get a kick out of just calling himself the devil, even right in front of everybody, and nobody paid him no attention. He said, "Well, speak of the devil," and he was telling the truth, but you didn't know it. You see, why he ain't saying nothing to me? How come he not coming in here contradicting me? That ain't true. Well, why he don't come back in and say something? Because he know I'll go deeper. I don't say things I can't prove. Y'all do that. What they calling it right now. Even the white man calling what they doing the big lie. And all of them know it's a big lie. And then they get up there and lie and say, well, you know, it's people that believe that big lie. No, they do not believe it. They just saying it. Just like they did not believe black men was raping white women, but they would say it to justify what they wanted to do. You ain't fooling nobody. When you come out there acting like it's Donald Trump done tricked these people into things, Donald Trump ain't tricked them into doing nothing. Donald Trump showed them how to do it. That's all. All of you bunch of crooks. Liars. So, and my people, brothers and sisters, we don't have to sit here begging them to let us vote or nothing else. What they doing is filling up a cup that Allah gonna pull back on. You see, he done already judged himself. He called what he's doing tyranny. That's why he don't want it. He don't want it as they say, critical race theory taught in school. Critical race theory, meaning critical race classes. Classes on what happened between black and white people. He called them theory. Well, that's just, every classroom setting, you are being taught theoretical knowledge, especially when you're dealing with vocations and stuff. You learn theory, and then you go to practical application. There's the theory of racism, and then slavery in the marketplace and all of that kind of thing. That's the practical application of it. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. He don't want that taught. Why not? He don't want it taught because his children will know how low down he is, while pretending to be upright, law-abiding, civilized people. They're nothing but a bunch of dressed up cavemen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You better go read Revelation again. It says, they joined together and made war against the Lamb, but the Lamb shall overcome them. You think I'm by myself, do you? Okay. I got hosts which you see not. But anyway, let's see here. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. Now, if Moses could raise you up from total savagery with the word of God and brought you up out of that, and now you ruling today. But we ain't never been so bad off that we was a caveman. Now, did you honestly think that Allah could not raise me? Well, now, the same way that you was raised, I've been raised. It's right there. As Moses lifted up the serpent, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believeth on him should not perish, but have eternal life. No? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten S-U-N, that whosoever believeth on him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. I've been trying to save your life. You can't say that ain't true. When I asked you to point out an evil that I did to you, I'm still waiting on you to point out the evil that I did to you. Huh? He that believeth not on the Son, he that believeth not on him is he that believeth on him, but he that believeth not is saving if you hadn't already condemned. When the lifeguard jumps into the water, if he's up or at work and you see him dive off his perch into the water, he ain't doing that for fun. Somebody already in trouble. I didn't hear you. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be in there. He'd still be up there looking. The mere fact that I'm here introducing myself and opening up these books to you tell you that your life is in danger. But that don't frighten you. Just like that virus didn't frighten them people till they was laying up there gasping for air. Then some of them start talking about, I guess I should have listened. I should have. Well, yeah, I guess you should have. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. It don't make no difference what you take. It's just like the Holy Quran says, my advice will not profit you if I intend to give you good advice, if Allah intends to destroy you. Now I'll tell you something else. A lot of you think that you can just do anything you please to me. I'm gonna show you something there. I like to give people. Now remember now, this is the Holy Quran in the 9th chapter entitled The Hypocrites. And I'm going to go to the, let's see. I'm going to start at verse 73. It says, "O prophet," because whatever go for them, go for me. The son can do nothing save what he do what? I can't do nothing but what I saw the prophets do. So it says, "O prophet, strive hard against the disbelievers and the hypocrites, and be firm against them. And their abode is hell, and evil is the destination that they always headed off for." They always headed off to do something they ain't got no business. Huh? Okay. "They swear by Allah that they said nothing, and certainly they did speak the word of disbelief, and disbelieved after their submission, after their Islam. And they purposed that which they could not attain, and they sought revenge only because Allah, as well as his messenger, had enriched them out of his grace." You remember, Malcolm was a good example of that. Malcolm didn't know nothing from nothing until the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught him. Then he got so wise in the teachings that he thought he could judge the teacher. The messenger said this about him. He said, "He could not have been my enemy if I had not taught him so much." Huh? Okay. Well, jealousy will make you want to move your teacher out the way, so you can, especially when you think you done got wise. You remember Farrakhan was saying that he thought the messenger was jealous of him? Yeah. He didn't stop thinking that. You know, see, once that thought entered into his mind, he stopped listening to the messenger because he thought that the messenger was just jealous, that he had outgrown the messenger. That's why when the opportunity presented itself and the messenger wasn't here no more, he said, well, I loved him, but I don't see him as the messenger. I see Prophet Muhammad as the messenger. Oh, okay. Right on. Then it says, and they sought revenge only because Allah, as well as his messenger, had enriched them out of his grace. So if they repent, it will be good for them. And if they turn away, Allah will chastise them with a painful chastisement in this world and the hereafter. And they shall have in the earth neither a friend nor a helper. You know why it says it like that? It's because in order to make true friends, you have to be a true friend. When you are an untrue friend, the only kind of friends you will attract is other people who are untrue like you. And they may hang out with you, they associate with you, but they ain't your friend. I'll show you an example. You notice the only kind of people that hang out with Donald Trump are people that's just like him. They ain't loyal to nobody. Just like a wolf pack. They'll go hunt together and do all that together. And next thing you know, the leader always got to defend his position because another one's still looking at him and trying to take it over. I didn't hear you. And of them are those who made a covenant with, I'll show you an example. Look at DeSantis and Trump right now, down there in Florida. Huh? DeSantis done got some more people saying that he might be the best person for instead of Trump. And Trump now and DeSantis, him and DeSantis is about to get into it with each other. Huh? Matter of fact, DeSantis just asked Trump not to put on no thing down there. That's the wrong thing to say to Donald Trump. Telling him don't put nothing on. Who you think you talking to? Donald Trump will tell you he made you, boy. And he did. Anyway, he says, and of them are those who made a covenant with Allah. If he give us out of his grace, we will certainly give alms and be of the righteous. But when he gave them out of his grace, they became niggardly of it, and they turned away, and they are averse. You know, you can say anything when you ain't got nothing about what you would do if you would, and then when Allah give you something, he check you on that. Huh? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So he requited them with hypocrisy in their hearts till the day when they meet him, because they broke their promise with Allah and because they lied. Know they not that Allah knows their hidden thoughts and their secret counsels? And that Allah is the great knower of the unseen things? It's just like people, they think they can intervene in affairs that I'm handling. You ain't got no business trying to intervene in no affair between me and another believer without my permission. If you hear me fussing at a believer or whatever, you ain't got nothing to do with that. Let alone thinking you know what my adjudication gonna be. Show you how you can be with me for years and years and years, and you don't know me. But anyway, it says, know they not that Allah knows their hidden thoughts and their secret counsels, and that Allah is the great knower of the unseen things? Most people, they don't understand. The unseen things are words. You remember I told you, people be telling on themselves and don't realize it. Your words, your thoughts betray you. Thinking you talking past me. You ain't talking past me. Those who taught the free givers of alms among the believers, as well as those who cannot find anything to give, but with their hard labor, they scoff at them. Allah will pay them back their mockery. You know, people call you crazy if they. A lot of you, all what you give me, if it was made known, some that pretend to be my followers will call you crazy. You hear me? Yeah. So, and they see a believer that ain't got nothing to give but their labor, and yet that believer is always laboring and helping. They try to discourage that. Huh? So, Allah will pay them back their mockery, their pretension. And for them is a painful chastisement. Ask forgiveness for them, or ask not forgiveness for them, even if thou ask forgiveness for them 70 times. How many times should I forgive my brother?
70 times 7.
Allah said, if I ask forgiveness for you 70 times, He says, Allah will not forgive them. This is because they disbelieve in Allah and His messenger. And Allah guides not the transgressing people. Okay. Told you, ain't nothing that's happening that it ain't a chapter on it. Everything that's happening, there's chapters on it. So, I'm saying to white people, stop this stuff that you see them trying to do to my people. It's like them who claim they want an all-white country again. Fine. But then that means you need to be telling black people, just stand up and tell us the truth. Make your leaders tell black people the truth. Hey, look, we don't want y'all here. We ain't gonna tax you no more. Now, how long you gonna need to get yourself together? And what do you need from us to get yourself together? And maybe we will help you like we helped Israel find them a place. But we want our country to be all white. Well, why not just be honest about it? Then help me to help my people so we can get out your way. But that's too much like right, ain't it? You would much rather pretend and lie and just mistreat us for no reason than that our skin is black. Okay. All right. You know, no low contender is the same as guilty. They tell me Donald Trump read the snake again. When did he do it? Where did he do it at? He read the snake again? I didn't hear you.
This past Saturday at his rally.
This past Saturday at the rally?
Yes, sir.
What did he tell him? In what context did he read it, or he just pulled it out and started reading it?
They say he was talking about immigrants when he was reading.
Oh, immigrants. Well, ain't he an immigrant? And what is that an immigrant? I thought the whole United States is a nation of immigrants. God is rich. Mm, mm, mm. Anyway, when you looked at them people who was up there trying to overthrow the government, what was they? Oh, those were tourists. That's right. What Ron Johnson said they was tourists, and some of them other ones say if you had just looked at this only the other day, you'd have thought them was just tourists. Tourists. Okay, right on. There was a time when if you said something that was insulting to white people, that would be your last day in office. But now white people in traded places with Negroes. You can stand up and say anything to white folks now, and they don't. I see white people just insult your intelligence, insult the intelligence of other white people, and they let them get away with it, and they just go further and further. They see how far they can go, and they just keep on going, keep saying, keep doing it. I tried to help you now. Don't say I didn't try to help you. You seem to think that that all of this you done forgot what it was like to be up under white people, ain't you? I'm talking to white people now. They know how corrupt they are. At least they used to know. They used to know how corruptible they are and how you don't want no white king. You saw what Donald Trump just tried to do. He did something that ain't no president ever tried to do. That don't bother you? Okay. Right on. And he had lots of help in the House of Representatives and the Senate. What? It's amazing how the one who did it was the one who was talking about building a wall and all that kind of old Humpty Dumpty set on the what? And Humpty Dumpty caused a great fall. Huh? And now all of the king's horses and all the king's men came, bring them back in unity again. I didn't hear you. Yeah. Because in order to do that, extreme problems require extreme solutions. I remember when they was trying to stop all them gangsters and stuff that was just taking over the country and using the streets as a shooting gallery. People like Elliot Ness was given free reign to go and clean it up, put an end to it. You need to form a special task force in the FBI to scrutinize these crooks in the government and go and arrest them publicly, one by one, and make examples out of them. That's what you need to do. You made it necessary for watching it happen, and you never did nothing about it. When you saw it, you ignored it. You let people like that old Jim Jordan sit up there in the Senate with his racist, bigoted, lying ass. And a coward on top of it. Just These are the kind of people that you have let infiltrate your government. I wish you well, man. But it's starting to look like it's too late. But anyway, I ain't gave up on you yet, because President Biden is still trying. He's still, I hope that there's enough good intention people in the House of Representatives and the Senate to go on and do what they need to do to show these people that you ain't finna go and undo the good. As they were saying, go to cow. You ain't gonna make the United States Congress the cow that gave the milk and then kicked the bucket over. You make every Congress that went before you make them null and void. If you go back to your dirty, mistreating ways that you used to try to claim that was your father's, that wasn't you. You liar. I want to say to my brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa, I think we need to open up a dialogue with each other. So, we have lots of skills and talents that I think we could come to some kind of equitable arrangement. It would be to the best interest of all concerned if white people, if you would just stop lying. You don't want us here. You seem to just get joy out of irritating black people. I don't hear none of these people who claim they want a lily white country. I'm still curious as to why don't you go on the rest of the way and say, look, let's stop taxing these people. Then we don't have to be apologizing for not letting them vote. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I don't need you to govern me. I can do fine. I can do fine on my own. So I'm saying this, black brother and sister, my phone number is 601-786-9742. That's my landline. 601-786-9742. My cell phone is 601-786-1332. Again, my cell phone is 601-786-1332. Now, we have enough resources between ourselves to go on and get ourselves together and get out these people's way that hate us so much. You know, I mean, why be trying to hang out and be in somebody's face that hates you? If he hates us, let's get out his way. Because I guarantee you, when they don't have us around to hate, they turn on each other like they did in the past. Like I said, you run around here idolizing Hitler. Hitler would have blown your redneck brains out. Hitler didn't care nothing about you. You remember, well, I'd have been with Hitler. And I'd have been, by God, I'd have been with Hitler. Yeah. Not long, you wouldn't. Did you see what that man did? I tell you what. Did you look at Bibi Netanyahu when he visited here? You couldn't tell the difference in him and any other white man. But look what Hitler did to the Jews. Them people don't give a damn about nobody. What they care about is having power over you. Show you an example. Donald Trump loved Michael Cohen until he lost power over Michael Cohen, and then Michael Cohen became a rat. I didn't hear you. And Michael was with him for, what did Michael say one day? I would take a bullet for Donald Trump. That's what he said. Until he found out that wasn't no two-way street. Only thing Donald Trump care about is if he can use you. If he can't use you, to hell with you. As far as he's concerned. Of course, that's where a lot of them most of them who follow him, that's where they are. They don't. Why you think, let me show you the proof of that. Why do you think that compromise became a non-starter, a dirty word in the Congress? Compromise between Democrats and Republicans. Why did that all of a sudden become no longer viable? It's because you kept people in the government that wasn't interested in making this government work. They were interested in making the government appear not to work so they could overthrow it. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. And all these crooks up there in the Supreme Court and all these places that's going along with it, they ain't nothing but a bunch of fools. Because when a dictator takes over, there ain't no more Supreme Court. Did you hear me? All of the power that they thought they had is gone. And they being used to help get rid of it. You see? And if they that stupid, as far you know how let me tell you how. You know, like I told you, I grew up around people who was hustlers and stuff. And I listened to people. I watched a lot of movies that there's a lot of truth in some of them movies. When they show you the history of Al Capone and all of them stuff, they say, well, if they that big a fool, they deserve what they get. That's the way the gangster thought. And they still think that way. Whenever a con man can con you and make you go for what he's fall for the con, they call you the mark. They call you anything, the sucker. As they say, it's a sucker born every minute. Huh? Donald Trump was described perfectly by Howard Stern. Howard Stern said, the people who love Donald the most are the ones he hates the most. Huh? You know, the minute you came, you know, just like this country. When Donald Trump couldn't borrow no more money in American banks, as far as he was concerned, America could take a hike. Do you understand? I mean, you. Anyway, so I'm telling you again. Now I wish somebody. Let me show you something. Put yourself in my position here. Now, think. Anything that you truly believe in and someone attacks it, any cause that you truly believe in and someone attacks that in an open forum like this, that you can call in and debate and argue your side. Wouldn't you do it? I mean, that's what men do. That's what grown folks do. You done heard talk shows where people disagreed with what somebody said and said, "Well, wait a minute, I heard you say such and so and such and so and so." Now that ain't right. And this is why. How come ain't none of them calling in here telling me that I said something that ain't right? I said that none of them believe that stuff they've been saying about the election was stolen and all of that kind of thing. You know why they don't call in here? Because they know I don't say things I can't prove. Now, they don't know how I'm going to prove it, but they know if I said I can prove it, I know I can prove it. That's why they want to talk. They don't want to talk to me. I tell you what, you ask any of my followers. There's a lot of times my followers, they see the truth that I say in their experience every day. You got people that'll walk up to them. Well, what about such and so and such? You a Muslim? And they say, well, what about so and so? They say, well, look, you got some questions. Why don't you call the Son of Man? Here's the number. Oh, I don't want to talk to him. Well, the reason they don't want to talk to me is because they don't really have any questions. They want to just create some confusion with you. You see, who that truly has a question, whether it's about scientific, for instance, if you got questions about this virus, why would you come to me and I've told you that I'm not a virologist? But if I had Dr. Fauci's card, I say, hey, here, you can call Dr. Fauci and he will answer anything that you want to know. I don't want to talk to him. But why you don't want to talk to him? I know why. I wouldn't ask him why you don't want to talk to him because I already know. They're not trying to learn anything. They're trying to see if they can get you in a conversation so they can make you doubt or disbelieve someone who has authority, who has knowledge. They want to trick you into letting that one go and going on a wild goose chase. People who are truthful love to talk to knowledgeable people and get the facts. Let me show you here. I was looking at this last night. And I decided that it was worth recording. So
As previously mentioned, the July 4th holiday weekend is suddenly upon us, and for all the millions of Americans who are so eager with good reason to celebrate a 4th of July weekend like we used to pre-pandemic style for the president, there is likely some disappointment as we are going to miss his target of having 70% of adults in our country vaccinated fully by this weekend. And it's a public health issue because of the spread of this Delta variant among the unvaccinated. I'll report on all of it tonight from NBC News correspondent Tom Costello.
After months of progress in dramatically slowing the spread of COVID, tonight, signs of trouble. The CDC reports a 10% increase in new cases in just 1 week. 25% of those linked to the new Delta variant, which the CDC director says is highly transmissible and will likely soon be the dominant variant.
It is clear that communities where people remain unvaccinated are communities that remain vulnerable.
While 67% of Americans 18 and older have now received at least one shot, many states in the South and Midwest.
Now, before I let that finish, I was told that there are some people who are selling cards that online and stuff like that, that you can get that say you got vaccinated when you really didn't. You can make it out and make it look like you got vaccinated. We used to have a saying when I was growing up. I used to hear from some of the elders, the older men and women, some of my friends' mothers and fathers. I remember Miss Hoffman she had some sayings that I still remember today. One of them was, your lie gonna find you out. You might can lie about with your card and whatnot, a fictitious card that shows that you've been vaccinated when you're not. But you ain't gonna lie to that virus. Okay.
Are well below that mark. Those with the lowest vaccination rates at or below 50%, Alabama, Wyoming, the Virgin Islands, Louisiana at 48%, and Mississippi at just 46%. In 1,000 counties where the new COVID variant is spreading, vaccination rates are under 30%. 43-year-old Joshua Garza's decision not to get vaccinated nearly killed him. A diabetic, he soon contracted COVID, was rushed to a hospital in Houston, and eventually required a double lung transplant to save his life.
It's the worst decision I've ever made in my life. I had to say goodbye to my parents and my family and my son. And that's something you never should have to do.
He was released after nearly 4 months in the hospital. The CDC reports 99.5% of all COVID-19 deaths involve people who have not been vaccinated.
The science is clear. The best way to protect yourself against the virus and its variants is to be fully vaccinated.
Vaccination rates are especially low among 18 to 26-year-olds, a very big reason so many colleges are requiring students get their shots.
Tom Costello, our thanks for that report tonight. And again, it turns out not getting vaccinated brings consequences. Coming up for us, this statue was unveiled in the UK today. The news had to do with the two. This morning, Punch Bowl News, they cover the Hill, reported that Kevin McCarthy had warned, quote, if any Republican accepts an appointment from Speaker Nancy Pelosi to the January 6th Select Committee, they better be ready to get all their committee assignments from her. Another GOP House member, Adam Kinzinger, was unimpressed, telling reporters, quote, who gives an expletive? Where I'm from, there's a word choice of maybe two major words to put in there. Local customs may vary. You can fill in the blank. We welcome back to the broadcast on that note Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee, former lieutenant governor of the great state of Maryland, also the host of the Michael Steele podcast, and the hat-wearing, truth-talking Mark McKinnon, former advisor to both George W. Bush and John McCain. He is, of course, among the co-hosts, the star, really, of the circus on Showtime. Gentlemen, good evening to you both. Mark, here's Mr. McCarthy, who once said in the well of the House on live television, we have tape of it, that Trump bore responsibility and there should be a fact-finding commission. Now wants us to forget that. I guess he thinks we're stupid. What's he so scared of right now?
Well, you have to realize that his ultimate goal is to be Speaker in 2022 and for the Republicans to take the House. He's scared of Donald Trump.
No, he's not scared of Donald Trump. He decided that he don't give a damn about your country. You know, I'm just telling you, you know, I'm gonna segue here for a minute, and I want to show you that what was done to Dr. Cosby was knowingly done, and this is Mr. Castor talking about that situation with Andrea Constant. And I want to show you just how unjust these people really are. I was just reading it yesterday, and it got so deep that I just had to go on and let me see here, 6. I think I got time to read this. I printed it out myself, brother. You didn't know I could do that, did you? Yeah, I can do some things for myself. So it says, let's see. Factual, this is page 2, I think. Wait a minute. Yeah, we read that already. Let me see here. Let's start at where I left off, I think. Now, on page 7, the second paragraph. Constant later telephoned Cosby again, and unbeknownst to Cosby, recorded the conversation with a tape recorder that she had purchased. The plot thickens, huh? Says, during this conversation, Cosby offered to continue assisting Constant if she still desired to work in sports broadcasting. He also indicated that he would pay for Constant to continue her education. Cosby asked Constant to meet him in person to discuss these matters further, and told her that he would have someone contact her to set up the meeting. As with the previous call, Cosby again refused to identify the pills that he had provided to Constant on the night of the alleged assault. And by the way, we finally got straight what he gave her. He gave her 3 half pills, which was a pill and a half of that Benadryl. Now I took 2 Benadryls and I don't use drugs, but I took 2 Benadryls and was able to stand up and teach and didn't have me all ready to fall out. But anyway, and she's much taller than me. Did you see that woman? That woman is up there. She's a basketball player. So, I mean, and I took 2 Benadryls and it didn't do nothing. But it got me a little, what you call wary at first. But when it plateaued, I said, well, I'm all right. And I just went on and taught. But anyway, it says, within days of filing the police report, Constant received 2 telephone messages from people associated with Cosby. The first message was from one of Cosby's assistants calling on Cosby's behalf to invite Constant and her mother to Cosby's upcoming performance in Miami, Florida. Constant called the representative back and recorded the call. The representative asked for certain details about Constant and her mother so that he could book flights and hotel rooms for them. Constant declined the offer and did not provide the requested information. Constant then received a message from one of Cosby's attorneys who stated that he was calling to discuss the creation of a trust that Cosby wanted to set up in order to provide financial assistance to Constant's education. Constant never returned the attorney's call. In the meantime, the Durham Regional Police Department referred Constant's police report to the Philadelphia Police Department, which in turn referred it to the Cheltenham Police Department in Montgomery County, where Cosby's residence was located. The case was assigned to Sergeant Richard Schaefer, who worked in tandem with the Montgomery County Detective Bureau and the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office to investigate Constant's allegation. Sergeant Schaefer first spoke with Constant by telephone on January 19, 2005, according to Sergeant Schaefer. Constant seemed nervous throughout this brief initial interview. Now, why would she be nervous? I mean, she wasn't ever nervous around Cosby. But when she go to report something that she say happened to her with Cosby, she was nervous and talking to the people who could help her. Huh? Have you ever, when I was younger, whenever people called the police and they showed up, the people wasn't nervous when the police came up. They talked to the police freely. I didn't hear you. But anyway, you notice he made a note of that she was nervous. Sergeant Schaefer first spoke with Constant by telephone on January 19, 2005. According to Sergeant Schaefer, Constant seemed nervous throughout this brief initial interview. Thereafter, Constant traveled from Canada to Cheltenham to meet with the investigating team in person, because this was Constant's first time meeting with law enforcement personnel. She felt nervous and uncomfortable while discussing with them the intimate nature of her allegations. Well, there was no real intimate nature of allegation. There was just people touching each other. Huh? But now let's stop here for a minute. Even the police saw that something wasn't right. The investigator. Well, I mean, what you all nervous about? You hear where you can get the help. But when people getting ready to go out on stage and act, they hoping that their performance will please the audience, huh? So they're a little nervous, ain't they? I didn't hear you. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to show you how words tell a whole different story depending on how deep you are in your understanding of the use of words. You hear me? Okay. On January 24th, 2005, then Montgomery County District Attorney Bruce Castor issued a press release informing the public that Cosby was under investigation for sexual assault. You notice, they even changed what they charged him with. They didn't charge him with sexual assault. They charged him with indecent assault. Ain't that something? Okay, let's see here. But anyway, it says Cosby was under investigation for sexual assault. Sergeant Schaefer and other law enforcement officials interviewed Cosby in New York City utilizing a written question and answer format. Cosby was accompanied by his attorneys, Walter M. Phillips, Esquire, and John P. Schmidt, Esquire. Cosby reported that Constant had come to his home at least 3 times during their social and romantic relationship. Cosby claimed that on the night in question, Constant came to his house complaining of an inability to sleep. Cosby stated that he told Constant that when he travels, he takes Benadryl, an antihistamine, which immediately makes him drowsy. According to Cosby, he then handed Constant 1.5 Benadryl pills, but did not tell her what they were. Cosby recalled that once Constant ingested the pills, they kissed and touched each other on the couch. Cosby admitted that he touched Constant's breast and private part, but vagina. But he insisted that she neither resisted nor told him to stop. Additionally, Cosby told the investigators that he never removed his clothing and that Constant did not touch any part of his body under his clothes. Cosby denied having sexual intercourse with Constant and disclaimed any intent to do so that night. In fact, Cosby claimed that the two never had sexual intercourse. That the two never had sexual intercourse. On any occasion, Cosby admitted that he told Constant and her mother that he would write down the name of the pills and provide them that information, but he acknowledged that he never actually did so. After the interview, and without being asked to do so, Cosby provided the police with pills, which laboratory testing confirmed to be Benadryl. In February 2005, then District Attorney Castor reviewed Constant's interviews and Cosby's written answers in order to assess the viability of a prosecution of Cosby, and the fact that Constant had failed to promptly file a complaint against Cosby troubled the district attorney. In D.A. Castor's view, such a delay diminished the reliability of any recollections and undermined the investigators' efforts to collect forensic evidence. Moreover, D.A. Castor identified a number of inconsistencies in Constand's various statements to investigators. After Cosby provided his written answers, police officers searched his Cheltenham residence, and found no evidence that, in their view, could be used to confirm or corroborate Constand's allegations. Following the search of Cosby's home, Constand was interviewed by police again. D.A. Castor noted that there were inconsistencies in that interview, which further impaired Constand's credibility in his eyes. He also learned that before she contacted the police in Canada, Constant had contacted civil attorneys in Philadelphia, likely for the purpose of pursuing financial compensation in a lawsuit against Cosby. Now you're starting to see what she was really up to, right? Okay, then it says, additionally, according to D.A. Castor, Constand's behavior in the year since the alleged assault complicated any effort to secure a conviction against Cosby, as evidenced by the number of telephone calls that she recorded. Constant continued to talk with Cosby on the phone, and she also continued to meet with him in person after the incident. D.A. Castor found these recurring interactions between a complainant and an alleged perpetrator to be atypical, meaning that's not natural. D.A. Castor also reasoned that the recordings likely were illegal and included discussions that could be interpreted as attempts by Constant and her mother to get Cosby to pay Constant so that she would not contact the authorities. The totality of these circumstances ultimately led D.A. Castor to conclude that there was insufficient credible and admissible evidence upon which any charge against Cosby related to the Constant incident could be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Having determined that a criminal trial likely would not be won, D.A. Castor contemplated an alternative course of action that could place Constant on a path to some form of justice. He decided that a civil lawsuit for money damages was her best option. To aid Constant in that pursuit, as the sovereign, the district attorney decided that his office would not prosecute Cosby, believing that his decision ultimately would then set off the chain of events that he thought, as a minister of justice, would gain some justice for Andrea Constant. By removing the threat of a criminal prosecution, D.A. Castor reasoned Cosby would no longer be able in a civil lawsuit to invoke his Fifth Amendment privilege against him, against self-incrimination, for fear that his statements could later be used against him by the Commonwealth. Mr. Castor would later testify that this was his intent. The Fifth Amendment to the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution states that a person may not be compelled to give evidence against themselves. So you can't subpoena somebody and make them testify that they did something illegal, or evidence that would lead someone to conclude they did something illegal, on the threat of, if you don't answer, you'll be subject to sanctions because you are under subpoena. So the way you remove that from a witness is, if you want to, and what I did in this case is I made the decision. This is Mr. Castor testifying to this now. And what I did in this case is I made the decision as the sovereign that Mr. Cosby would not be prosecuted no matter what. As a matter of law, That then made it so that he could not take the Fifth Amendment even as a matter of law. So I have heard banter in the courtroom and in the press, the term agreement, but everybody has used the wrong word. I told Cosby's attorney at the time, Walter Phillips, that I had decided that because of defects in the case, that the case could not be won, and that I was going to make a public statement that we were not going to charge Mr. Cosby. I told him that I was making it as the sovereign commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And in my legal opinion, that meant that Mr. Cosby would not be allowed to take the Fifth Amendment in the subsequent civil suit that Andrea Constand's lawyer had told us they wanted to bring. Attorney Phillips, which was Mr. Cosby's attorney, Attorney Phillips agreed with me that that is, in fact, the law of Pennsylvania and of the United States, and agreed that if Cosby was subpoenaed, he would be required to testify. But those two things were not connected one to the other. Mr. Cosby was not getting prosecuted at all, ever, as far as I was concerned. And my belief was that as the Commonwealth and the representative of the sovereign, that I had the power to make such a statement, and that by doing so, as a matter of law, Mr. Cosby would be unable to assert the Fifth Amendment in a civil deposition. Attorney Phillips, a lawyer of vastly more experience even than me, and I had 20 years on the job by that point, agreed with my legal assessment. And he said that he would communicate that to the lawyers who were representing Mr. Cosby in the pending civil suit. Recalling his thought process at the time, the former district attorney further emphasized that it was absolutely his intent to remove for all time the possibility of prosecution, because the ability to take the Fifth Amendment is also for all time removed. Consistent with his decision with Attorney Phillips, D.A. Castor issued another press release, this time informing the public that he had decided not to prosecute Cosby. The press release stated in full, this is what it says: Montgomery County District Attorney Bruce L. Castor, Jr. has announced that a joint investigation by his office and the Cheltenham Township Police Department into allegations against actor and comic Bill Cosby is concluded. Cosby maintains a residence in Cheltenham Township, Montgomery County. A 31-year-old female, a former employee of the athletic department of Temple University, complained to detectives that Cosby touched her inappropriately during a visit to his home in January of 2004. The woman reported the allegation to police in her native Canada on January 13th, 2005. Canadian authorities in turn referred the complaint to Philadelphia police. Philadelphia forwarded the complaint to Cheltenham police. The district attorney's office became involved at the request of the Cheltenham chief of police, John Norris. Everyone involved in this matter cooperated with investigators, including the complainant and Mr. Cosby. The level of cooperation has helped the investigation proceed smoothly and efficiently. The district attorney commends all parties for their assistance. The district attorney has reviewed the statements of the parties involved, those of all witnesses who might have firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident, including family, friends, and co-workers of the complainant, and professional acquaintances and employees of Mr. Cosby. Detectives searched Mr. Cosby's Cheltenham home for potential evidence. Investigators further provided District Attorney Castor with phone records and other items that might have evidentiary value. Lastly, the district attorney reviewed statements from other persons claiming that Mr. Cosby behaved inappropriately with them on prior occasions. However, the detectives could find no instance in Mr. Cosby's past where anyone complained to law enforcement of conduct which would constitute a criminal offense. After reviewing the above and consulting with county and Cheltenham detectives, the district attorney finds insufficient, credible, and admissible evidence. Finds insufficient, meaning not enough, credible, and admissible evidence exists upon which any charge against Mr. Cosby could be sustained beyond a reasonable doubt. In making his finding, the district attorney has analyzed the facts in relation to the elements of any applicable offenses, including whether Mr. Cosby possessed the requisite criminal intent. Indeed, District Attorney Castor applied the rules of evidence governing whether or not evidence is admissible. Evidence may be inadmissible if it is too removed in time to be considered legally relevant, or if it was illegally obtained pursuant to Pennsylvania law. After this analysis, the district attorney concludes that a conviction under the circumstances of this case would be unattainable. As such, District Attorney Castor declines to authorize the filing of criminal charges in connection with this matter. Because a civil action with a much lower standard for proof is possible, the district attorney renders no opinion concerning the credibility of any party involved so as to not contribute to the publicity and taint prospective jurors. The district attorney does not intend to expound publicly on the details of his decisions for fear that his opinions and analysis might be given undue weight by jurors in any contemplated civil action. District Attorney Castor cautions all parties to this matter that he will reconsider this decision should the need arise. Much exists in this investigation that could be used by others to portray persons on both sides of the issue in a less than flattering light. The district attorney encourages the parties to resolve this dispute from this point forward with a minimum of rhetoric. D.A. Castor did not communicate to Constant or her counsel his decision to permanently forego prosecuting Cosby. In fact, Constant did not learn of the decision until a reporter appeared at one of her civil attorney's offices later that evening, with the resolution of her allegations removed from the criminal courts. Constant turned to the civil realm. On March 8th, 2015, less than 1 month after the district attorney's press release, Constant filed a lawsuit against Cosby in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. During discovery in that lawsuit, Cosby sat for 4 depositions. Cosby's attorney for the civil proceedings, John Schmidt, had learned about the non-prosecution decision from Cosby's criminal counsel, Walter Phillips. From the perspective of Cosby's attorneys, the district attorney's decision legally deprived Cosby of any right or ability to invoke the Fifth Amendment. Accordingly, not once during the 4 depositions did Cosby invoke the Fifth Amendment or even mention it. During one deposition, Attorney Schmidt advised Cosby not to answer certain questions pertaining to Constant, but he did not specifically invoke the Fifth Amendment. Nor did Cosby claim the protections of the Fifth Amendment when asked about other alleged victims of his sexual abuse, presumably because he believed that he no longer retained that privilege. In fact, no one involved with either side of the civil suit indicated on the record a belief that Cosby could be prosecuted in the future. D.A. Castor's decision was not included in any written stipulations, nor was it reduced to writing. At depositions, Cosby testified that he developed a romantic interest in Constant as soon as he met her, but did not reveal his feelings. He acknowledged that he always initiated the in-person meetings and visits to his home. He also stated that he engaged in consensual sexual activity with Constant on 3 occasions, including the January 2004 incident. Throughout the deposition, Cosby identified the pills that he provided to Constant in 2004 as Benadryl. Cosby claimed to know the effects of Benadryl, well as he frequently took 2 of the pills to help him fall asleep. Thus, when Constant arrived at his house on the night in question, stressed, she was stressed out, tense, and having difficulty sleeping, Cosby decided to give her 3 half pills of Benadryl to help her relax. According to Cosby, Constant took the pills without asking what they were, and he did not volunteer that information to her. Cosby explained that after 15 or 20 minutes, he suggested that they move from the kitchen to the living room, where Constant met him after going to the restroom. Cosby testified that Constant sat next to him on the couch and they began kissing and touching each other. According to Cosby, they laid together on the couch while he touched her breast and inserted his fingers into her vaginal area. Afterwards, Cosby told her to try to get some sleep, and then he went upstairs to his bedroom. He came back downstairs 2 hours later to find Constant awake. He then escorted her to the kitchen, where they had a muffin and tea. Cosby was questioned about his telephone conversations with Constant's mother. Cosby admitted that he told Constant and her mother that he would write down the name of the pills that he gave her and then send it to them, but that he failed to do so. He further explained that he would not admit what the pills were over the phone with Constant and her mother, because he did not want Constant's mother to think that he was a perverted old man who had drugged her daughter. He also noted that he had suspected that the phone calls were being recorded. Although he did not believe that Constant was making these allegations in an attempt to get money from him, Cosby explained that after Constant and her mother confronted him, he offered to pay for her education and asked his attorney to commence discussions regarding setting up a trust for that purpose. Cosby admitted that it would be in his best interest if the public believed that Constant had consented to the encounter, and that he believed he would suffer financial consequences if the public believed that he had drugged and assaulted her. Notably, during his depositions, Cosby confessed that in the past he had provided Quaaludes, not Benadryl, to other women with whom he wanted to have sexual intercourse. Now, let me stop here. At a time, way back, Quaaludes and Benadryls, the Quaaludes especially, they was a what they called them recreational drug until they passed a law that made it otherwise. And when I was going out, I didn't do no bunch of clubbing, but I went to some clubs, and I knew people who did. The first thing you do when you meet a sister in a club is you say, "Hey, baby, can I buy you a drink?" And she might say yes, whatever. If she liked your looks, if she didn't, she knew how to get rid of you. But if you could buy her a drink, then she wanted to talk to you. And then you talk to her, and you may buy another one. She know what you up to, and she know what she's up to. And so don't play crazy, and don't try to make it look like this man was walking around drugging women and raping them. Because every woman that I asked did, and I interviewed a couple of them. And they wouldn't, and it wasn't because that's all I wanted. I wanted to interview all of them, but the Gloria Allred used to be one of my teachers in high school, a substitute, I should say. She didn't bring me no more to interview because them people was lying. Bill Cosby didn't rape none of them women. You notice in the end, they didn't charge him with no rape. Indecent assault. What? He touched her. And then you come up here and you made a man president that say he grabbed him by the, you almost made me say it. But I mean, he say he grabbed him by their private parts, their vagina. And you made him president. Well, he admitted he been indecently assaulting women. That woman came to Dr. Cosby's place over 3 times, and they were kissing and going on what? Did she say, "Don't kiss me"? Y'all is some unjust people, just like what you doing in this voting thing here. But anyway, it says, eventually, Constant settled her court case. Now, listen now. This is what she was after. Constant settled her civil suit with Cosby for $3.38 million. Initially, the terms of the settlement and the records of the case, including Cosby's depositions, were sealed. However, following a media request, the federal judge who presided over the civil suit unsealed the records in 2015. By that point, I remember when they asked Bill Cosby about Donald Trump, and Bill Cosby shrugged it off and made a kind of flip statement about Donald Trump. And, Bill Cosby was respected by a lot of people. So since they was trying to put Donald Trump into president, they went after Cosby. Do you understand? You thought I forgot? I told you, I know more than you think I do. And it says, so anyway, by that point, then D.A. Castor had moved on from the district attorney's office and was serving in it as a Montgomery County commissioner. He was succeeded as district attorney by his former assistant, Risa Vetri Furman, Esquire, or Risa Vetri Furman, Esquire. Despite her predecessor's decision not to prosecute Cosby, Upon release of the civil records, District Attorney Furman reopened the criminal investigation of Constand's allegations. Then, and it gives a definition of Quaaludes. Quaalude is a brand name for methaqualone, a central nervous system depressant that was a popular recreational drug from the 60s through the 80s until the federal government classified methaqualone as a controlled substance. Constant also received $20,000 from American Media Incorporated, which was a party to the lawsuit as a result of an interview that Cosby gave to the National Esquire about Constand's allegations. D.A. Furman, now Judge Furman, was subsequently elected to a seat on the Court of Common Pleas of Montgomery County. First Assistant District Attorney Kevin R. Steele was present during the initial stages of the newly revived investigation and participated in early discussions with Cosby's new lawyers, Brian J. McMonigal, Esquire, and Patrick J. O'Connor, Esquire. On September 23rd, 2015, upon learning that D.A. Furman had reopened the case, former District Attorney Castor sent her an email to which he attached his February 17, 2005 press release stating the following: Dear Risa, or Riza, I certainly know better than to believe what I read in the newspaper, and I have witnessed firsthand your legal acumen. Meaning I know you know law. So you almost certainly know this already. I'm writing to you just in case you might have forgotten what we did with Cosby back in 2005. Attached is my opinion from then. Once we decided that the chances of prevailing in a criminal case were too remote to make an arrest, I concluded that the best way to achieve justice was to create an atmosphere where Constant would have the best chance of prevailing in a civil suit against Cosby. With the agreement of Attorney Phillips and Constant's lawyers, I wrote the attached as the only comment I would make while the civil case was pending. Again, with the agreement of the defense lawyer and Constant's lawyer, I intentionally and specifically bound the Commonwealth that there would be no state prosecution of Cosby in order to remove from him the ability to claim his Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination, thus forcing him to sit for a deposition under oath. Attorney Phillips was speaking for Cosby's side at the time, but he was in contact with Cosby's civil lawyers who did not deal with me directly that I recall. I only discovered today that Attorney Phillips had died, but those lawyers representing Constant civilly, whose names I did not remember until I saw them in recent media accounts, were part of this agreement because they wanted to make Cosby testify. Now remember now, though, those lawyers are officers of the court. They knew about the agreement that they were not supposed to be charging Dr. Cosby with anything after depriving him of his Fifth Amendment rights. Listen, I believed at the time that they thought making him testify would solidify their civil case. But the only way to do that was for the Commonwealth, the state, to promise not to prosecute him. So in effect, that is what I did. I never made an important decision without discussing it with you during your tenure as my assistant. Now he's getting on her because she's supposed to know better. Knowing the above, I can see no possibility that Cosby's deposition could be used in a state criminal case, because I would have to testify as to what happened, and the deposition would be subject to suppression. I cannot believe any state judge would allow that deposition into evidence, nor anything derived therefrom. In fact, that was the specific intent of all parties involved, including the Commonwealth and the plaintiff's lawyers. Knowing this, unless you can make out a case without that deposition and without anything the deposition led you to, I think Cosby would have an action against the county and maybe even against you personally. That is why I have publicly suggested looking for lies in the deposition as an alternative now that we have learned of all these other victims, as they are called. We did not know about at the time we had made the no-go decision on arresting Cosby. I publicly suggested that the DA in California might try a common plan scheme or design case using Constance case as part of the res gestae in this case, because I knew Montgomery County could not prosecute Cosby for a sexual offense if the deposition was needed to do so. But I thought the DA in California might have a shot because I would not have the power to bind another state's prosecutor. Some of this, of course, is my opinion, and using Cosby's deposition in the California case might be a stretch. But one thing is fact: the Commonwealth defense and civil plaintiffs' lawyers were all in the agreement that the attached decision from me stripped Cosby of this Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination, forcing him to be deposed. That led to Cosby paying Constance a lot of money, a large percentage of which went to her lawyers on the contingent fee basis. In my opinion, those facts will render Cosby's deposition inadmissible in any prosecution in Montgomery County for the incident that occurred in January 2004 in Cheltenham Township. Now you heard that the district attorney, you heard him say that they had made an agreement with Cosby after stripping him of his Fifth Amendment rights. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. These justices wrote a 79-page actually condemnation of what they did to Dr. Cosby. You bunch of lying. Just y'all got to answer for what you do to people. You think you don't have to answer? Just wait. You mark my words. You gonna pay for all of these things you unjustly did to us and to whoever you did it to. You gonna pay. I notice ain't nobody saying nothing to me. Anybody typing anything?
No, sir.
You don't know how close you are to your demise. The stronger I get, pretty soon, I'm gonna be fed up. And that's a good way of putting it. Son of man, take it and eat it up. Soon I will be fed up. And I can deal justly with everybody without emotions, without malice, strictly justice. It is just as easy for me to talk. It's getting just as easy for me to talk to a white man or a white woman as it is for me to talk to a black man or a black woman. I just see human beings. I need to be without any of that emotion. I'm getting there. I'm gonna fix you when I do. Yeah. That's just another way of saying I'm gonna repay everybody what they are justly due. So you go ahead, keep on filling up your cup, keep on believing that that I ain't nobody, that I ain't nothing. Just keep thinking that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll fix you. You mark my words. You gonna come knocking later, and I'm gonna tell you go back where you been. I don't know you. There's nobody to be saved by me. When I tried to save you, you insulted me. Okay? You remember that now. Coming in my class, cussing and joking, talking crazy. I ain't forgot. Okay. Because I remember how I felt when I was first raised to this position. I was sitting on the bus and I didn't feel nothing for nobody. Either way, I was just angry and didn't make no difference who you were. I was sitting on the bus. I had some Muhammad Speaks with me. And something just came over me. Just peace and anger at the same time. And I was looking at the people around me, and I looked at this sister that was sitting sitting across on the bus from me. I said, Muhammad Speaks, ma'am? And she said, no. I said, take it. Just like that. She took it. And I didn't say nothing else to her. And It's just like right now. A lot of y'all don't even know why you keep listening to me. You hate me. You don't know why you keep listening. You're listening for a lie. But you ain't heard one yet, have you? You're going to be called to account for everything I said to you. All right. You play your little game if you want, and you're going to find out I'm going to do you just like you saw that movie Tombstone, where in the end, that old bad actor, Ringo, when Doc Holliday walked up to him and told him, well, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave. And he said, my fight ain't with you, Doc. He said, I beg to differ, sir. Play for blood, remember? He said, oh, I was just fooling around. So now, I mean, he did all that woofing and going on in front of his buddies. But when there wasn't nobody but him and Doc, then he punked out. Yeah, okay. Doc told him, well, I wasn't. You might have been joking around, but I sure ain't joking. And those of you who was in the nation with me, I offered you salvation. I offered to be your brother. I was a brother to you. Now you say what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught wasn't true Islam? Was for me. Thought you believed it. You did until you didn't. Ain't that something? Well, I still believe it. And living by it. He told you, I don't care if you live 10,000 years, you're not going to be able to make no lie out of it. Come in here and show me what he taught that wasn't true. Okay. Well, it's late. I ain't gonna prolong this thing. Y'all ain't talking back. So I'm gonna let you go. So may Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds. And what is it?
Somebody just raised their hand.
What is it?
Son of man.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you a question in reference to, I understand the unjust that was done to Dr. Cosby. However, it shows a pattern of powerful people in power position with lots of money that subverts the law. And it exposed all of them, everybody from Donald Trump to Bill Cosby and the last people with a lot of money. They think they can buy their freedom, their justice, and hide their fault.
Well, brother, that's what I just told you. That's what I'm here for. I'm judging everybody.
Yes. Right.
And your positions and all your power or whatever, your lack of power, but it don't mean nothing to me. Everybody belong to me now.
Yes, sir.
So that's what's written. The earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. If you didn't belong to me, I'd show you an example. in this system, most people don't even understand the system they're living in because they don't pay attention to nothing. They just blasé through life and ain't paid attention to nothing that's going on around them. But the first thing that happens, in many of the court pleadings, the first thing is the court acknowledges that it has jurisdiction over the case. Because it's certain cases you can bring, and you bring it into a venue or a court, and if you, for instance, if a person is being charged in a county of a crime that happened in another county, the defense lawyer may say we contest this court's jurisdiction. You don't have jurisdiction over this case, and the judge will generally acknowledge it. But you got to know where to bring your charge at. You got to first have jurisdiction, authority over people before you can judge them. So Allah said in the Holy Quran, we sent no messenger, but that he should be obeyed. Son of man, I do send thee unto them. And when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy scriptures with him, all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the brain of the man who was born to glorify that knowledge. And before him shall be gathered all nations. There's my jurisdiction. Yeah. You think I ain't got no jurisdiction over you? Wait and see. When these pestilences and things get through with you, you're going to be on your knees, boy. Earthquakes, rain, snow, hail, all of it has been ordered to fight on my side. Oh. Think I'm putting on an act? Do you? Wait and see. Just wait and see. All right. Any more questions? Then may Allah bless us all, keep us safe, and in our right minds. Those of you who believe and are my followers, I intend to do great things for you. I love you, and I'm going to show you just how much. All right. So, may Allah bless us, keep us safe and in our right minds, and grant to us a peaceful and pleasant night's rest and sleep, and a happy, peaceful, and pleasant morning's rise, and a fruitful life. May Allah, assalamu alaikum.